What's up, Burb Squad? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, hello, my name is Victoria Ryan. This is Popples, my Quaker Parrot, and Yoshi, my yellow-sided green-cheeked Conure. If you've watched part 1 of the why your parakeet, conure, or other parrots may not like you, definitely leave me a little bird emoji in the comments below and let me know that you watched it. But if you've made it here to part 2, congratulations. If you watched part 1, we discussed as to why birds act the way they do because of the way that they were raised. So let's just say, hypothetically, here in part 2, you're thinking, well, I don't know how my parrot was raised because I decided to do a rescue and I don't know much about this bird. Or, well, the ways that you mentioned how they were raised doesn't really pertain to my birds. Well, we're going to discuss a few other things that could possibly be the case and ways to work around it. If you are interested in understanding why a parrot doesn't like you in adulthood, then keep on watching. But first, I'd like to start out with just giving you my current situation with these two birbs. They have both been hand-raised by a man, but they have different personalities, so there's different reasons as to why they act the way they do. So with Yoshi in particular, he really just obsesses over my husband Nick. There's actually another reason as to why Yoshi likes my husband more and doesn't really fly to me as much like he used to. The answer is right beside me. Before, when it was just Yoshi and I did everything for him. Like, I was like his mate or whatever. I would preen him, I would take him to the shower with me, I would do all these things like he was always with me, and I was more like a mother to him. But ever since I got my second bird, which if you watched my one video about my fears with having a second bird, just about everything that I worried about actually happened. Popples has taken my role as Yoshi's mate and also Yoshi's like mommy. When it comes to preening him, cuddling him, and feeding each other, Popples has taken that role of what once was mine. The way around this is for me to fit another role. I'm no longer needed as the mom role, working more one-on-one time with Yoshi than compared to him always being with Popples, because if they're always together, they're always going to want to be together. So I need to cut the time that they're always together and make me in there a little bit more. Like, I'm just going to come in between you two, you know what I'm saying? A couple of you actually mentioned to me that it could be because of jealousy. Ever since getting a second bird, that Yoshi would be jealous. Yoshi doesn't, honestly, he doesn't really get jealous. Like, he is such a family-oriented bird and wants to just be with all of us, and he's just so playful and clown-like. I don't think he ever really gets jealous from what that I've observed of him and watched him with other animals and stuff. I don't think he gets jealous. Popples, on the other hand, does. I do have two different situations, even though they were raised very similar. They are different species, and they also have completely different personalities. If my situation sounds similar to yours, I hope that you can pick certain things from this conversation and apply it to your life and with your birds as well. Now, some other things that don't really pertain to me a whole lot, but can still pertain to your birds and yourself, is your appearance. Men, if you've changed some things like a mustache or a beard, and let's just say you did the whole no shave November thing, you decide by December that you're going to shave all that woolliness off, and your birds may be getting aggressive with you or just don't really want to be around you at all. Birds are very detail oriented, so if you change something, and this could apply to women too, like for me, for example, I have to watch when I change my nail color, because if I'm approaching my birds with my hands and they see a new nail color, especially red, it could really freak them out. If you change your hair color, you're shaving your face, or you got different nail color or whatever, there's all these things about your appearance that can make your bird not want to be when you, or just see you as like a completely different person. Also too, another one, if you've noticed that your bird is scared of your hands, even if you were very bonded to your bird before and you're able to get him to step up on your finger and do all those things, if all of a sudden out of nowhere you notice that he doesn't want to get near your hands, you may have to watch just how handsy you are. You still have to keep in mind that birds are a prey animal. Maybe back off a little bit and give them the option of your arm instead of your hand first, because that could be something that could be freaking your bird out. You may get a little fear aggressive with it. One of the biggest questions that I see a lot, not only on my channel but on other pet communities' channel, is why does my bird all of a sudden out of nowhere not like me anymore? I see this so many times. First of all, I want to say, don't take your actions of your birds personal. They don't hate you, and they don't out of nowhere decide that they don't like you anymore. I was a victim of this for a while too. I was like, Yoshi hates me, he no longer likes me. It's not true. Birds don't hate you. Unless I'm sitting here punching Popples in the birdie beak, he's not going to hate me, especially out of nowhere. So one of the biggest things that I could tell you is to start focusing on is your energy. For example, let's say you've had like a long day at school or a long day at work and you come home and you're just tired and you're frustrated or whatever. That is not the time to approach your bird. What I recommend that you do is when you do have days like that and you come home, yes, acknowledge your birds and say, hey, what's up? But I wouldn't go up to the cage like, hey, how you doing? Because birds feed off your energy, and if they sense that you're frustrated or you're mad, they pick up on it. Because like I said, birds are very detail oriented, especially with their eyes. If they see your facial reactions as mean and angry or just sad and upset and just they're not going to want to be on you. Especially if this pattern is repeated, they're going to pick up on it. And if you try to force them on you, or if you're like all up in their grill, it cause aggression, fear aggression, or anything like that. If you're putting off negative energy, they're going to put off negative energy, resulting in this vicious cycle. Take some time to yourself, whether it's 5-10 minutes, to just breathe before you go and open the cage. Because if you approach that cage with so much negative energy, that's going to make things 10 times worse for you. I know a lot of you don't purposely try to abuse your birds or anything like that, but if you're stressed out, they're going to be able to tell. Something I am literally the worst at. If you've watched very many of my videos, you know that I'm very like, very handsy and animated and like, hey, how you doing? It's not a bad thing, it's just my personality. But when it comes to animals, you have to take it down a notch. Too much eye contact, too much animation, and too much is just gonna freak your birds out and ultimately just have them like, get away from me. And Nick is the complete opposite. He is very calm, he's very assertive, he's just very like, even though my birds are pretty much used to it by now and they know my personality and we good, I still have to watch and not approach them like, hey Yoshi, how you doing? Popples, wanna be my friend? Can't do that. Before you approach your parrot's cage, I highly recommend that you just stop, breathe, watch your eye contact, and just walk over calmly with a very calm voice. Don't raise your voice with excitement, even if it's not frustration. Do not get all super excited. Animals are different with humans in that sense. With humans, if you saw a friend you haven't seen in a long time, you're like, hey, how you doing? And you run up and you give them a hug and do whatever friends do. Because with the human language, that's acceptable and almost required. With animals in general, you cannot do that. You gotta understand their language. To us, it may sound mean and like, oh, well, I'm excited to see my birds. I gotta show them that. You show them a different way than what you show your best friend or your mom or your dad. But what you can do with the birds, especially with one that doesn't particularly seem to like you, or if you're going over to a friend's house that has a bird, what you can do is do not approach this bird face to face, because birds need to see you. They don't want you going up behind them. They need to know what's going on. And when you do approach them really slowly, glance at them like this, like the way that I'm looking at Yoshi, about 2 or 3 seconds, then look away. And maybe start talking and do whatever you're doing. Then when you notice that they're kind of watching you, do it again. And just look away. If you practice this and get into a habit of it, before you know it, the bird is going to be approaching you and curious and wanting to see what's going on. They may not just fly to you and just start kissing your face, but they are going to be more curious. They are going to be more interested in what you're doing. Watch your energy, watch your eye contact, and if the bird doesn't like you, always have some treat. Another tip for you is to try not to be too direct. There's some behavioral issues going on with Yoshi that I'm not particularly fond of. I don't like him swooping in, stealing my food. I don't like him trying to drink my coffee. And I don't really like him nibbling my toes. But I don't expect him to change these behaviors drastically, like we do with our kids. If Emery is over here sticking a pencil in my face, I tell her to stop, and she better stop and listen to me the first time I tell her. With birds, it's not going to work like that. If you're expecting so much out of them, it's not going to happen. It takes time. Not take it personally. Relationships can be rebuilt. It's not the end of the world. There's just things that take time and a lot of consistency and things you got to work with yourself. So is there like some miracle way of handling it that changes your birds instantly? No, I'm sorry. You just have to watch your actions, because things that you're doing, you may not realize it, but you're hurting the relationship with you and your birds. Isn't that right? Is you right? I hope that this 2-part video helped you out. But if you still have a unique situation that you're still unsure about how to handle, please let me know in the comments, because there are some awesome people out there that are also wanting to help you, and they're not being judgmental, and they just sincerely want to help you with your relationship with your birds. Thank you guys so much again for hanging out with me. I hope that this helped you. Thank you guys, and I can't wait to see you all in my next video. Bye, Burp Squad!